Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
This is a bonus episode.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 251. Our guests have sent us so much swag, books, and giveaways this year. I can't wait to announce our monthly winner. So if you want exclusive content delivered right to your inbox and to enter into our monthly drawing, go to drfrancesrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. That's drfrancesrichards.com. drfrancesrichards.com. That's drfrancesrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. We promise we will not spam you or sell your information. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards, finance coach and CEO of LB Tax and Business Advisor. Welcome, Brian Joubert.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Brian, I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
All right. So a little bit about me. As you stated, Doc, my name is Brian Joubert, AKA Rich Boy. Now, a lot of people call me Rich Boy now, and not because of my lifestyle. It's an acronym. I started a company also, other than my tax business, called Rich Boy Investments. But Rich Boy actually stands for really interested in caring how businesses operate internally. So Rich Boy is RICHBOI, and really interested in caring how businesses operate internally. Because one of the things that I do is I've been blessed enough to be in entrepreneurship over 30 years. I know I don't look a bit over 30, but we'll talk about that later. I've been in the tax business for 24 years, and I've only worked one job. I've only worked probably 11 months. I've never worked one job over a year. So I've never really had corporate American experience. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13 years old. So all I know is entrepreneurship. So I've took a lot of my successes to start teaching people how to start running, grow businesses. And through my tax business has been very, very good to me. I've had locations. I was up to 9-10 locations at one point. I was in 6 different states, which I'm still in several states. And I took all of that experience and that knowledge and now transition more to teaching people how to manifest their dreams, their lives, their businesses. So that's where the Rich Boy comes from, because the internal part of Rich Boy with that I, we have to understand that the foundation of whatever you do is going to be the core to your success. So I'm originally from New Orleans. I live in Atlanta now. I've been in Atlanta 20-something years. Like I say, tax locations around the country. And I love to educate. I love to teach. I'm a world traveler. I've accomplished most of my travel goals. I've been to all 7 continents, even Antarctica. So I'm probably the only Black man y'all know been to Antarctica. I've been to all 50 states. I've been to all ancient wonders of the world, and I've been blessed enough to live my dream, my passion, my love, and create my destined life at a young age. And now my whole goal is to give that back to others. So here we are.
Ryan, talk about being an entrepreneur at the age of 13. What was the aha moment that you knew that entrepreneurship was the journey that you should venture down?
I think one of that aha moment, I always go back to an experience when I used to have a shoe shine stand. Now, my mom worked at the Omni Hotel. So inside the salon, they had a shoe shine department. So actually, my mom got me a job at the shoe shine stand. But actually, with the shoe shine stand, it was an independent job. So that means every day I would come home with money in my pocket. Like I would have a pocket full of 1s, 5, change. And so when I came back to the neighborhood, and my friends saw that I had, at 13, if you got $40, $50, back when I grew up, I'm not going to say my age, because everybody assuming right now I'm about 32, 33 years old. So we're not going to get into that. But I would just say it might have had like an 80s feel to it. So back in the day, like you coming home at 13 years old, you coming back to the hood with $40 in your pocket, and change. And like all your friends are like, man, look all that money you have, And so this was probably 3 times a week that I'm doing this after school. So you're talking about 3 times a week, 4 times a week, I'm coming home with money in my pocket. And when I realized the influence you had when you have money every day that's yours, as well as the attention that you got when you had a little something different from everybody else. Plus, I kind of dictated my own time frame. So I think at that point, I started realizing this is different. This is different when you can do something for yourself. You get money every day and people really kind of look up to you, respect you in a different way. And I think that probably was my moment to say, I think I like this.
And talk about the transition or the move into taxes. How did that work?
Well, the move into taxes basically was, and this is a story that I probably just started really coming out with, that a lot of people, like, they didn't know, but I learned the whole tax game while incarcerated. Now, when I was younger, probably in my mid-20s, I was a business owner. I had a janitorial service, I had a courier service, but I also was linking with people that probably at the level I was at that point, I shouldn't have been hanging with. We got into a certain situation, I was involved, and I ended up getting an incarceration bid. And so during the incarceration, I had, like I said, a janitorial business. I had the courier business. So I had a partner. And as he sent over the tax papers for the business and myself, I just wasn't pleased with what was going on. So I asked around and asked it was anybody in there, proficient in taxes. So a couple people introduced me to a young man. He looked over my taxes. He was saying, well, you can do this, you can do that. But he saw the excitement that I had in my eyes and the questions I was asking. And he was like, you want to learn this? I said, yes, I'd love to learn it. So every day he would sit down with me, and kind of go over taxes. And I would get books from the library and start reading and sitting out every day. And so when I came home, I had already had my name for my business. I had everything in place. I continued to learn. And so I just started pumping a few. But the one thing that I understood was I found my calling, because the whole tax game was about learning. I'm a continuous learner. I love learning. Tax business, you always learn something new. Every year is changing. You work with people and you help people. I'm a helper by nature. I love working with people. I love helping. And the other component of it is that I'm a numbers person. I was that person in school that tried to outdo you when you use the calculator. I try to do it in my mind. So back then, again, I know a lot of y'all still thinking I'm 32, but computers wasn't always prevalent. So at that point, we had to kind of, do stuff by hand, by paper, when you did taxes. So this was exciting to me. This was like a joy. And I loved the industry. So I think at that point, I said, you know what? All of this happened for a reason. All of this happened for a reason. So I took that and I manifested into not just doing taxes, but to a tax business. And everything just kind of fell in line. And so, that was my initial journey into the tax business. And from there, my thought process, because one of the things my mentor had told me, the same guy that taught me taxes, I think he was the reason why I elevated to multiple locations to greater success, because we were talking one day and I was just talking about things I wanted to do for my mom and some other stuff. And he told me, and I thought I was doing well. I thought I was in a good place. And he was like, you got to stop thanking mom and pop. And when that hit me, because I'm thinking I'm doing some big things. And so when he hit me with that, you got to stop thanking mom and pop, that slowed me up and made me realize, you know what? It's no cost to think big. It costs nothing. It's the same price to think small as it is to think big. So why not think big? And I think at that point, I elevated. I said, I'm going to take this tax thing to a whole nother level. Not only am I going to grow it and be successful, I'm going to create other offices and other opportunities for other people. And that's what I was able to do. And that's how I kind of transitioned into the tax business.
What is your biggest win for this week?
For this week, basically, I guess seeing for me that my new staff, like what I'm loving is my new staff is actually getting it. And they're learning new things. And the reason why I say that's a win, because I have my two top people both had their babies 2 weeks ago in the same week. So I lost my two top people at the office, which actually had to get the other people to step up. And so my biggest win is to see how they're handling the whole, right? Because right now we're in the midst of tax season and they had to actually jump into the fire right away. And I'm loving the fact that how they're embracing it and how I think my personality as far as calmness and positivity has rubbed off on them and to see them handle this situation in the way they are.
Brian, there are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
I think right now one of the industries is Uber. Uber is an industry that's dominating right now. And you're talking about a company that built $1 billion industry, $1 billion company within years. It's a car company, but don't have cars. So my thing is, and I say that because the reason why I admire it, because yesterday on my call, I do a Tuesday call that I talk about business, taxes, mindset development, everything. And part of the reasons was I was talking about creativity. I think that was one of the most creative things that you can actually come up with is to say, we're going to put this into the play, which, we always had taxi drivers and stuff. So to say, well, no, we're going to create an atmosphere. We're going to create a company where people can actually call a car, have a chauffeur service. And this is how it's going to work. They can use it from their phone. I just believe that's genius. That's creativity. But then we don't even have a fleet of cars. And we've $1 billion company. That's a beautiful thing. And so Uber is probably one of the ones right now that I admire.
What are you most grateful for right now in your life?
Oh, you say right now, and it's amazing because it changes. It changes, consistently. But right now, I would say that I've been able to feed into hundreds, if not thousands of people to make a difference in people's lives. And I say this because, again, on my Tuesday call, I always ask, did I say something that was impactful, powerful to you? And the amount of feedback that I get on social media and people inbox me and say, thank you. We appreciate you every week for coming on here and educating us and teaching us about taxes and business and stocks and, and making us be greater. And I think now I'm seeing the impact that I have on people. If you get people to talk to you and start to cry as they talk to you about the impact that you made in their life, I think you're doing something different. And that's what I'm starting to see now. I'm starting to see numerous people now bringing their kids to meet me and those things. And I think right now, that's probably one of the most impactful things that I can see. At first, it was one time that I retired my mom. My daughter's about to graduate in May from college debt free. So it's different things, but I think the whole impacting people is my goal, and I'm seeing it manifest.
Let's talk about legacy, Brian. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
As somebody that made a difference in people's lives, a lot of people's lives, is, and not just money, but what I fed into you. If you was having a bad day and you just thought about something I said that changed your day, or if it was in the moment, if you caught me on one of the lives and it was something that I say that basically made you change, I just want to be an impactful person from so many different aspects, from spiritual to social to economics, to finance. And that's the legacy that I want to have. And it's beautiful because people know my past now. They don't care. They don't care about my past. They care about my now and my future. And that's what I want to leave people. I want people to remember me by what I've done for others.
Who is Brian and what matters to Brian?
Brian is somewhat a laid back person. I'm a laid back but outgoing person. I'm a world traveler. I'm an undercover comedian, a businessman, and an influencer now. And I think what fuels me too is again, just really helping people, seeing people win, and the thing now that hurts me is seeing my community, where we at, I'm seeing things evolve, but if it's anything, I'm passionate, I'm extremely passionate, extremely about my community and my people actually being successful and moving up the totem pole.
This is your opportunity to give us one of your jokes. Make us laugh.
I don't know if it's a joke in that sense. I'm not a comedian like where I stand up. I think within speaking and seminars, I'm usually going to throw something humorous in there. And so I don't know. I don't have, what is crazy, because I don't really have a joke, but I think I joke a lot, if that makes sense. Because throughout the interviews, like my Tuesday calls, people be like, you miss your calling. You miss your calling. Like, you need to really be doing stand-up somewhere. Because I might joke, like just around Valentine's Day, I was messing with people a lot about your stimulus not being in time for Valentine's Day. So a lot of y'all women might be in trouble, with your Valentine's gifts because brothers out here waiting on their stimulus, and vice versa. And so I just throughout the thing, I might joke a lot about different things and what goes on, but I don't know if I'm gonna have a whole plethora of jokes.
Talk about this Tuesday call. What is that all about, and who's able to join?
Yeah, the Tuesday call it's crazy how God basically leads you to directions in which, you're most useful. Because I had a radio show for years and it was Tuesday morning. And so I pulled out in 2020 because I normally start in January, but I was like, oh man, I got a lot going on at a new office, new staff, new things. So I kept saying, I'm gonna get it. And lo and behold, my business partner with the radio network, he was my engineer for my show, kind of fell off. And then we were kind of wondering why, but then he ended up passing away from a brain aneurysm. So I lost my engineer, my partner, and I had a lot going on. So I didn't do my Tuesday show no more. But then the pandemic came, and then the PPP and EIDL and all of the government money started coming. And I knew I was in a space of education. So I knew a lot of this stuff you can get if you understood your taxes, where your taxes need to be, how you need to file, who needs to file, how much money you used to make. I knew this stuff already. I said, if I just learn all of the other stuff, I can help thousands of businesses qualify to get some of this free money. So I said, all right, well, you know what? I'm gonna start doing a Tuesday night call on Facebook Live and social and Instagram, just to kind of educate people. I never thought that it would be February of last year, and we almost in April of this year, and we're still doing a weekly call every week with information every week. That's I guess the thing that kind of behooves me is that I didn't think every week I said an hour. We do 2 hours every week, and some weeks we've done 3 hours and still had information. So it's all about giving information on taxes, mindset development, procrastination, just how to get unstuck. And also I just break down, like last night I talked about like reasons why you don't want to be an entrepreneur. Give me your reason. And I talked about anything that you can give me, I probably have a counter for, because I want people to be in the entrepreneur space. But it all prompted from the stimulus stuff. I wanted people to know what you needed to do to get this PPP. So if you get the payroll protection from the government, you don't have to pay it back. We can't afford to miss that. I call that non-pay backable money. That's a term that I've coined, non-pay backable. That's what we want. We want that money we don't have to pay back. So if the government is giving it, and it's unfortunate because the first go round with it, it was only 3% of African-American businesses that actually got involved with this. That means there's 97% of other communities that's in this, and we're not in it. But we can never change the scope of our future and our wealth gap if we don't get in the game. And a lot of it, we don't get in the game is because we don't know the rules. So my whole goal on Tuesday is to teach you the rules so you can get in the game and you can have a level playing field with everybody else, and we can get this money. And like young people say, get the bag, and then we can manifest our greatness.
And speaking of greatness, Brian, what is your zone of genius?
I think my zone of genius, if I'm understanding that question, is being able to explain complex things at an elementary level. And the one reason why I've been successful in taxes and business, because I speak a lot, on a lot of different platforms, and probably 90% of the times I speak, people say, I heard that, but I never understood it. You broke it down to where it makes sense. And so I think my genius now is taking things that people truly don't understand, that they're scared of, that they fear, and be able to put it in layman's terms to make you feel comfortable enough to now go forward with it. Because things that we don't understand, we don't basically walk to. We don't apply. We don't get involved. And unfortunately, things in the economic industry, we don't understand. We don't understand taxes and stocks and entrepreneurship and crypto and all those. So we're not going to get involved. So my thing is my genius is break this down to you as if you or your 5-year-old can understand it. And if I understand it better, I'm more willing to do it and get involved.
What is one thing we could do right now to support your business?
One thing is reach out to me if you have questions about taxes. If you have questions about business, reach out. And the thing about it, I'm not asking you to be a client. That would be very helpful, because what I do is I always say I flip my money. So if you do business with me and you pay, if you follow me, I'm always in the community. I'm always helping single mothers. So I flip the money you pay me, but that would be something to do business with me. If not me, to help me basically promote doing business with other Black businesses. I would say reach out to me. One thing that you would help me by is being educated in whatever you're doing. Find the answers to the questions you have. So to help me is follow me on social media. On Instagram, definitely at Richboy, RichBoyJup1. That's RichBoyJup1. Follow me on social media and get involved, because the things I do is the things that you do. I want you to be able to benefit from my resources, my connections, the things that I have going on. And right now we're in a no excuse society. You have no excuse to be where you want or start moving to where you need to get, because we have too many resources. So that's how you would help me, by reaching out and supporting, by doing business with me would be great. Just even, making sure I can help you get where you need to be.
Talk about business continuity. What is your highest risk as a business owner?
I think risking the growth that I look to have and expanding, but not having the quality of people in numbers to support that vision. And the reason why I say that because that can be detrimental to a business, because we want to grow. We want to grow fast. We want to be big. I got 8 locations. I got 7 locations. I got all these locations. But if you don't, basically, the risk comes with that is, we got to understand, as you start getting more and more location, you start watering down the number of people that you can put in your organization that's looking for greatness. It's only a few people that really want to be great. Everybody else just want to be good or comfortable. So if I got 1 location, I can actually, it's not that much of a risk for me, because I can find 1 or 2 people that really can help me grow. The risk comes in with me wanting to manifest my business, nationwide and come on a bigger level and be a conglomerate, is finding the type of people that I need. And if I don't, I'm jeopardizing my integrity. I'm jeopardizing my moral, and I'm jeopardizing my name and legacy.
Brian, I want you to have a monologue, and I want you to name the person that you're talking to. And this person has impacted your life so much. This person can be living or not. What are you saying to this person, and who is that person?
That person is one of my college professors, Dr. Earl Marcel. He was one of the business professors, and he impacted my life. And I'll get into the monologue, but he impacted my life because I thought he was one of the most intelligent people that I've met. He challenged me, and I love that. I love the fact that he challenged me. And so the conversation would go, and I did put him in my first book, kind of thank him for that. And Dr. Marcel, I truly, truly appreciate what you've done for me. I don't think you realize the impact you've had on my life, as a young man and an adult. Without you, I don't know if I would have accepted challenges the way I did and the way I do. I don't know if I would have wanted to elevate my mind to know a lot about a lot of things. Because one thing you did was you made us be great. You made us see the world from a different perspective. And as a young person, we didn't realize how impactful that would be as we got older. So I thank you for making me read the newspaper and hold me accountable for it when I was in college. I thank you for making us dress up with shirt and tie when I had no shirt and tie and I had to borrow it. I understood the impact of that. I thank you basically for always telling us not to be oblivious, to really know what's going on around us, what's going on in the world. And just your knowledge and experience of knowing a little bit about everything around the country, around the U.S., made me want to see more things. So you helped me expand my mind to become the man I am today, and I appreciate you.
What advice you wish you had followed?
It's probably that the first thing that came to mind is learn a second language. Learn a second language. I actually started again learning Spanish, but I kind of fell off during COVID, but I'm going to get back on that. But if I would have took that advice as a young person and been fluent in Spanish, I think you can do so much more now when you have multiple languages in your life. And it don't have to just be Spanish, but opportunities go to another level. So I think that was something that I would have followed, that I was told that, learn another language early on. And I think that was one of the things and I don't say I have too many regrets in life. The only other thing is probably not learning to play the piano when I had my stepdad in the house with me. And I could have learned in-house, every day. But I was a sports junkie. I played sports. And I just thought at that time, music was soft if you didn't play sports. But now that I've gotten older, I was like, man, to just even have the skill and to know how to play piano, would have been just an extra notch on your belt. Like, so that's one of the things, probably the two things most I wish I would have listened to and followed up.
And that is so profound that you talked about the music, because learning an instrument deals with both your right and left brain. So it's so important that we challenge both parts of the brain. So individuals that are really, that's the research they've done, that get into musical instruments, it helps with learning. So that's really good.
Now you're going to just make me feel even worse that I didn't learn now.
No, that was encouragement. That was encouragement. Brian, talk about your top 2 influencers and what lessons do they teach you?
Probably one, like my mom, I would still say my mom. And I think my personality a lot like my mom. But I never see it. I say one is because my mom was very, very even keeled. Like I never seen my mama panic. I never seen her get upset about things. And when situations happened, it was never a situation where she really just got bent out of shape. And so I think that carried over to me, which actually helped me with dealing with situations, dealing with people, because I've always been even keeled. So when things happen, I always basically find the solution in it and not the problem. And I don't panic over stuff. I don't get too high. I don't get low. And I think I got that. And I think my mom is an influencer just because of that reason and that purpose, just being an all-around good person, but also a steady person. I think the other person that kind of influenced me was, and I would say Jay-Z is an influencer to me. And a lot of it because when I listen to a lot of Jay-Z's lyrics, even just early on, like our lives are similar in so many ways. But I love the fact how Jay-Z went from a hustler to a businessman. And he went from talking the streets and talking all these different things. And then when I used to listen to Jay-Z travel and talk about the places he went and he was going, it made me want to go there. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the south of France. So he influenced me to open my mind to other stuff and made me realize that the streets is not basically who I am, it's what I did. And he took the streets and now took all of that information that he learned, all of the things that he did, and he manifested that into a billionaire, being able to sit at tables with other people, now basically a philanthropist, giving millions of dollars to HBCUs and other organizations, helping people when we have these Black situations going on in the community. He funds a lot of that. So that influenced me to not only, just want to be like him from a money standpoint, but just from now a culture standpoint, a philanthropist standpoint. So I would say right now, he's definitely one of the people that influences me.
Brian, the word is listening. What is that resounding sound or the message that your generation is saying that we should be listening to?
I'm trying to think if my generation is saying that we need to listen to. I guess we need to listen to really what the government, what I'm hearing now and sitting down with people is really what the government is saying and really what the police is saying. We need to listen at this point. And it's almost that whole thing that says stay woke. When people talk about stay woke, we need to listen to what people are saying now, what they're saying about how this world is evolving, what's happening in our communities. We need to really listen to the Stacey Abrams and, people who talk about voter suppression. And we're talking about that. So I think we need to listen to what people like that are saying. So I think if anything we're talking about listening to voting. Listen to now we need to get out and vote in masses. And I think that's the conversation that my community is probably having more than anything right now. And so that's the thing that we need to listen to. What
is the best decision you've made as a leader?
I think the first decision, I think was one of my best decisions is moving to Atlanta. I would say that was one of the best decisions I've ever made when I moved to Atlanta. And as a leader, because I always said, even as a young person in my community, I was a leader among my friends. I was a leader. But again, in order to manifest my leadership into greatness, I had to get out of the environment that I was in. Because you can lead and you just lead somebody to a bag of pennies. But until you manifest your greatness, you ain't gonna never find gold. So my thing is I had to find the gold. And Atlanta, at the time I moved, Blacks were on another level. You don't see this, you hadn't seen this in no other city around the country where you can go and see African Americans with the homes they had, cars they had, the jobs they had, all legally. And in New Orleans, I seen that, but it never came from a positive situation. So exposure, when I chose to give myself a different type of exposure, it was the best decision I made as a leader, because now if I'm exposed to more, I can lead more people into better situations. So I think that was the best decision I've made as a leader, to move to Atlanta.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
I'm gonna tell you one that I'm really passionate about, and one thing that gets me teary-eyed. It ain't a whole lot, but I think that we push it to the back burner. For one, is our young people are dying at a rate, man, that people don't even understand. You never hear the news talk about this. You never hear people talk about this. But when you talk about in the inner cities, in the Chicago's, there's no reason why you have 8 to 14 young people die in a weekend and ain't nobody talking about it. It ain't never exposed. And that's in Chicago. We're not talking about in St. Louis, in Detroit, in New Orleans, Atlanta, in Houston, East St. Louis, all these. So we got young people dying in numbers daily. And I asked somebody, when the last time you heard somebody speak on that? I would really love to solve this problem, to have our youth have a chance, and not die at the rate that they died at, because it creates so many long-term problems. I got a 21-year-old daughter. If all the young people dying, who's she gonna marry? Who's she gonna marry and be equally yoked with? Because she's gonna be a college graduate in May. She has a father that pumps entrepreneurship into her veins. If we don't have young men, where would the world go? This is one of the reasons why we got a 75% single mother rate right now. So if we can stop all that, and this is one of the reasons why I'm extremely passionate about single mothers, and I do this. So when you talk about trying to help and things I can solve, the whole single mother pandemic, that's a pandemic. That was one of the first pandemics we have. And that has long-term effects, because if we got mothers raising boys, we're going to lose something in that process. So that boy going to have to become a man. But how does he learn how to become a man if he's never been around or learned from a man? It's so many different avenues, man, that I would like to solve. But if I had to pick one, the first thing would be is find a way that we can stop killing one another. But it goes deeper than that. People say, all we got to do is if they just stop killing one another, but it goes much deeper than that, because I'm a victim of my environment most of the time. If I don't know no different and that becomes my norm, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to expect that to be normal for me. I'm going to expect to only live to 23 because that's all I see. I would want to put something, which I'm trying. It's a bigger picture than one person, and so I'll keep pushing it, keep manifesting, keep partnering, collaborating with individuals to hopefully one day we can change this.
What do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
A community. What I say is we lost the village. Back then we used to have a village, and you have multiple people that will come together to solve problems that we have in our community. And I think we've lost that. We've lost the village. And when I was growing up, even if my mom wasn't around, believe me, we had 2 old ladies and an old man that was in the neighborhood that you respect just as much as your mom. So if you was doing wrong, you straightened up because they were watching, and they would beat you worse than your mom. That's when we had a village. That's when we had a lot of nonviolence. That's when we had people that was actually going in home and they would bring you in their house to make sure you did your homework before your mama came home. I would like us to understand the concept of village. One of my mottos is, and I have it painted on my wall, I talk about it every week, collaboration beats competition. We got to learn to collaborate. We got to stop competing. So if I had more people to collaborate, more people to understand the concept of a village, there's strength in unity. It's strength in unity. And so if I had a unified, family, and we saw it in masses, oh man, it would be a beautiful thing. And that would help me push my agenda so much further.
Brian, talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger Brian?
Learn everything that you can, man, about as much as you can, especially finance. And don't discount anything, because you never know what you're going to need in the future. Learn finance and don't discount anything, because the thing is, a lot of times we say, all right, we want to be a rapper, we want to be a football player, I want to be such and such, but you never know what life is going to lead you to. So if I can learn other stuff about finance, and I just so happen don't make it as a basketball player, as a rapper, as whatever you want to be, now I know business. So I would tell my younger self, man, learn business, learn investing. Those things are going to be around 20 years, 30 years later when you now older, and you're going to need those things in life. So make sure that you learn that as much as you can.
What have you not done in life that you dream about often that you would like to do?
That's a good question now. And I say that because it's I think about that all the time. And I say, right now I'm at peace in life. I'm at peace. I could die tomorrow and I'm at peace because I've lived a heck of a life. I've done almost everything that I wanted to do. Right now, I would say if it's anything that I want to do that I haven't done is be the platform to see my people unite. Because it's nothing that, I've been blessed to say now I'm in a position that it's nothing that I can't do at this point that's monetarily. There's nowhere that I can't go. It's nothing that I want that I can't get. So right now, it's nothing. All of the travel that I do, and I still travel. I took 9 trips from August to January, internationally pretty much, right after tax season last year in the pandemic, during the pandemic. So I'm a person that don't wait to make stuff, to wait for it to happen. I make it happen. So I've done mostly everything that I wanted to do. So that's a question that I really would have to think. But if it's anything, I want to be the platform and the vessel for the reason why my people came together. I want to create, and I always say this selfishly, I want to be the reason why 100 young people, at least 100 say, if it wasn't for Mr. Pine, I would have never been a millionaire. I would never been a millionaire. I would have never did this. I would have never did that. And I guess that's the one thing I want to do. I want to create a platform of people to say I was instrumental in changing their lives.
What book would you recommend and why?
I guess the one that I do recommend a lot of times is, and it's probably at the top of my list that I probably recommend more than anyone, is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And I think that was one of the first books that I read that from a financial standpoint, from a greatness standpoint, from a manifesting standpoint, I got it. Like a lot of times you read financial books, they talk over your head. But I think with this book, it was things that were so instrumental to the development of someone's business growth and their mindset change. But it was all in simplistic form. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend it, because it's broken down to where even if you don't understand business, you will understand the concepts in this, but it's so relatable to the concepts of business and society. And one principle that I try to teach my daughter and young people, like it was one thing that said that you manifest in your life basically what you want. In a sense, I tell people all the time, I don't discount no denomination of money, no matter how much money you think I might have or whatever. I don't care if I find a penny. I pick that penny up and I say, thank you, God, for allowing me to find money, to have money. Because again, if I start becoming extremely thankful for finding money, God don't look at denominations. He don't say, well, it's just a penny, Brian. He's basically saying, know what? You're grateful to receive money, so I'm going to reward you with more money. And so when you stop respecting and say, well, it's just a penny, I ain't even worrying about that, then what you're doing is you're basically saying you're not worthy of money. So why give you more? So even a little concept like that, I think was profound in my growth because I appreciated money. Things that we don't appreciate, we don't value. Things we don't value on, we don't focus on. And that's the whole premise behind it. But that's a simple concept, but I thought it was extremely deep about manifesting stuff into your life.
Talk about self-care, Brian. What does self-care look like to you?
I think it's one of the most undervalued things to someone's success. When we talk about self-care, I said this on a talk that I do Tuesday morning. Sometime I'll go in the clubhouse because I get invited on there. And I said, we got to stop saying you got to start taking care of yourself, self-care, pampering myself, and when we get our hair and nails done. That stuff should be natural. That shouldn't be an overwhelming thing like, oh, I take care of that's something that you should do regularly. So what I started saying was we actually have to normalize luxury. Self-care, luxury is not having all of the finer things or what society told us is the finer thing. Self-care is if I love to travel, and that's where I get my peace of mind and my joy, then I need to travel. If I love playing tennis and that brings me my joy and happiness, I need to play more tennis. So that's self-care. Working out is self-care. Eating right is self-care. And I always say that's one of the most undervalued things because I work out consistently. I try to eat well because I understand and I understood early on when I was a one-man operation and my business was predicated on that one man. Guess what happens if that one man is down? That business is down. So self-care from a eating right, workout standpoint is very important because when you're down, then the business is down. Most of us are one-man operation. If that one man is gone, you make no money. You make no money, you can't eat. Your care starts to suffer. But on the bigger scheme is self-care is doing the things that you enjoy. I always talk about enjoy your joy. Do it often. If it's something that you enjoy, find a way to do it. And that's self-care because that's going to fuel your inner joy. It's going to make your system run so much better when you're happy.
Brian, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
I would probably ask myself, if I was interviewing myself, I would ask now, if you've done all of these things now, what does the next 25 years of your life look like? And my reply to that would be is continuously growing my greatness, filling in any gaps that I have before I leave this earth, and filling in those gaps may be, things that a couple of things that I may have wanted to do from a trip standpoint, some of the places I wanted to go, but also creating platforms. I want to now create a platform again to have people understand that your destiny is in your control. I want to be that example. I want to create platforms. I'm putting things in place, in the next 25 years, the next 5 years, to let people know I can live that same life. I can be semi-retired. So my next phase looks like going from semi-retired to retired, to have a beach home in other countries where I can get away for 2 weeks and just go and lay out. That was how my next 25 years would look.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Always. Yes, I'm excited about this.
Your first job?
Well, Shoe Shine.
The last movie you saw?
Not Lion King. Coming to America 2.
Your favorite color?
Blue.
You relax doing what?
Traveling.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Favorite rapper is Jay-Z. Favorite singer is Kim.
Your favorite dance song?
Lovely Day by Bill Withers. It does something to my soul. So I think that would be it's not considered a dance song, but it makes me dance.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Unfortunately, or not, salmon. Yeah, salmon.
Your favorite month?
October.
Workout or hit the couch?
Workout.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you? And feel free to give all your social media handles.
All right. Thank you again for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it, enjoyed it. Hopefully I impact someone, and I never take these opportunities for granted. But you can continuously follow me. Like I said, every Tuesday I do the show. So you can, if you're on Instagram, you can follow me at Richboy, RICHBOIJUP1, Richboy 1. On Facebook, I'm usually under my name, Brian, BRIAN, JOUBERT. My website for my company is lbtaxservice.com. You can find the phone numbers and the email from there. That's lbtaxservice.com. And I would love to just answer any questions about business taxes, seeing how I can help you manifest your greatness. And also, I just came out, with a business plan to help people actually get some structure in starting a business and understanding what you need to know in business. So you can actually go to my website at richboyinvestments.com and go to the store if you want to purchase that. And for all your listeners, if anybody's interested in purchasing, they can put in the code RB Thank You. So that's RB Thank You. So RB for Rich Boy, RB Thank, and then the letter U, RB Thank You, and they'll get a $20 discount on that. But again, people, don't take for granted your greatness. We all have greatness in us. A lot of times it's somebody that have to pull it out. So don't be scared to get a mentor. Get a mentor, find somebody around you that's doing the things you want to do and have them pull out your greatness, because we have it in us. A a lot of times we're just not forced to use it. So understand that collaboration beats competition, and you can't be great by yourself. I ain't gonna say you can't be, but it's much harder. So, thank you again, Doc. I truly appreciate it. Anytime you need me, call me, questions, answers, whatever, just to talk, I'm good. So thank you again.
Thank you. That's a wrap. Subscribe to our mailing list to receive weekly updates and exclusive content delivered right to your inbox. Go to drfrancisrichards.com. That's drfrancisrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. That's drfrancisrichards.com, drfrancisrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. We promise we won't spam you or sell your information.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.